Hello to my Aries. Okay, Aries, you all asked for a bonus video, and I don't mind giving you all one. Let's get into it. We will try to keep it short and sweet. Aries, we have a solar eclipse and a new moon in your sign coming up on the 29th. Typically, new moons are a time for your body to rest and process, coming off of a full, a cycle, just closing out a cycle, right? That's just typically just new moon energy, just in general, right? You're closing out one cycle, you need time to rest, process for those, 3 to 7 days. So hopefully you all, have the types of careers or jobs where either you can telework or you have the types of schedules where you can, discipline yourselves to kind of shut things down, or control your time where you can just really relax. Hopefully you can do that, or just kind of let everybody know for those, from the 29th for the next 7 days after that, just relax. 3 days, 3 days prior to that, that would be like the 26th, from the 26th, and just mark out 7 days after that. For that next 7 days, just relaxing yourselves, allowing yourselves to just let your body sync with the rhythms of the moon. But what's going to be special about this one, since we're in eclipse season, Aries, is one, we're going to have a new moon in your sign, and you all rule first house, right? And you all are ruled by the Tower card, which is Mars. Mars is the energy and assertion planet, right? It's also the sexual energy planet. It's the fighting planet. It's a lot of things, total recall planet. A lot of things could come up during that time. It's Tower card, right? So you really want to let your body sync with the rhythms of the moon, so you can journal, all those things, right? As you're having a total recall of some things, and just process your downloads. Get into prayer mode, like increase your prayer life, prayer and meditation life, all those things. I've already prayed over your cards. Let's set the tone. Let's get into it. Yes, like I said, we are in eclipse season. A lot of people have released a lot of things during the total lunar eclipse, right? During that, we're still in a cycle right now at the time of filming. So we had a full blood moon in Virgo. Virgo rules 6th house. And lunar eclipses can bring up childhood and ancestral traumas in you, right? So hopefully you all had a chance to make whatever connections you needed to make, and make whatever adjustments you needed to make. And still find time to close out cycles. And then solar eclipses, which happen on new moons, you'll have a chance to reset. So we're going to have a partial solar eclipse. Let's get right into it. All right, let's get into it. So make sure you all are extending yourselves grace. You don't have to ask people for permission to extend yourselves grace. Extend yourselves grace. You don't need other people's permission. All right, let's get into it. Let's set the tone. I'm talking to you wherever Aries is in your birth chart. A new partnership, job/love is near, okay? Something new is near. So I'm glad that card came out in particular, because really what Source is really trying to get you all, I'm talking to men and women Aries, is to learn how to live a softer life. In order for you to learn how to discipline yourselves to live a softer life, somebody's going to have to learn how to really control, like really discipline yourselves to just, the people around you. You're going to have to teach people around you how to treat you. Sometimes people around you expect for you to just, move when they want you to move. They want you to, if they're used to you jumping when they say how high, because they need this, that, and the other, because you all can handle multiple things. That's what people really love about you all, that you all can handle multiple things at a time. Doesn't mean that just because you can, for everybody else, Aries, sometimes you're going to have to teach people how to treat you by just saying, nope, it's all about me. So maybe just test it out, try it out. Maybe that's part of your reset. Maybe that's, ooh, that card jumped out. And this card flipped out upside down. The Queen of Pentacles flipped out upside down. Okay. So, yeah. So, the Queen of Pentacles flipping out upside down is somebody may be connected to someone who is materialistic. Somebody may be connected to someone who is all about the paper and the coins, right? And so, and it could be affecting you. It could be affecting you. And so even though that's receiving energy, Source is saying when you know your self-worth, you know, that could absolutely affect your fire. It could almost make you ruthless, really, when you're connected to energies. And it can even be another Aries that's like that, right? You got to remember something. Venus and Mercury are currently retrograde, right? So what's going to be of importance to you all, Aries, is second house. That is Mercury. So Venus. Venus rules Taurus. Taurus is personal resources, money. Taurus rules second house. That second house is about personal resources, money, habits, possessions, values, financial security, self-worth, and income, right? So if you're trying to attract a job or new love into your life, and you're connected to money-hungry people who don't know their worth and their value, you could actually be repelling something that's trying to come in, who's trying to really, somebody who really wants to spoil you. Let's say you have friends who are, you know, like gold digging energies, or you have family members who are like that. All they're about is just that. That energy could repel somebody who really wants to come in and give you a lot of things, because it's the company that you could keep, that you could be keeping, right? And then third house connects us with Gemini, right? By way of Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini, and that's third house. Third house is all about early education, intelligence, sibling interaction, logic, reason, communication skills, short trips, hobbies, right? And so even including on short trips and hobbies, hanging out with people, certain energies, you could be meeting your person, even within close proximity. Source is saying, Mercury is not only the messenger planet because it sends out a particular message. Your energy is directed outward, right? So, and it could be guilty by association, right? So this right here, you know how like with Mars, it's a planet of like it puts you in a very vulnerable position because it's a planet where people jump to conclusions, right? It's a very impulsive, it's like where people impulsively jump to conclusions about other people. And it puts people sort of like in this with a God complex, almost makes, and anybody can, even my cross watchers looking at this, you have Aries in your birth chart. Remember, your guys, Aries rules first house, and that's about personality, temperament, appearance, self-image, first impressions. And that's where the impulsive people making a first impression. Oh, I got the first impression I got with you because you were hanging out with so-and-so, that you were just like them, right? And so self-awareness, outlook on life, right? So somebody can have outlook on life based on who you hanging out with. You never know who knows whom. And so that would be first house, right? That may not even be who you are, right? And so you may be thinking, oh, remember what's hidden also in the tower is because Scorpio is ruled by the judgment card, is you may be thinking, oh, they judge me. Never judge a book by its cover, right? But that could go both ways. Right? And you could be missing out. Somebody could be missing out on somebody who is down to earth, quite relatable. You like, that's not me at all, and somebody, and vice versa, right? So, like I said, this is what's coming in. Be very mindful of that. Be very, very mindful of that. So, if you're trying to hit a reset button and you're trying to process who you hanging out with and the conversations that they talking about, and you just starting to notice some things, pay attention to that. Pay attention to some of those things, right? Emotionally, somebody's going to feel like they hit the jackpot. Because a lot of your wishes are being fulfilled. A lot of your wishes are being fulfilled. In other words, you can already cut ties with some people. There it is. And it's going to happen for you fast. Something is going to happen for you fast because not only are a lot of your wishes being fulfilled, Source knows, Source knows that a lot of you all have said out of your mouth that you are impatient. A lot of you all have said out of your mouth that you're impatient. You're like, Source, I'm tired of waiting. It's a lot of you all may have felt like in the past you've been burned because it's like, okay, I want something to come in. I can't figure out what it is, and believe it or not, you're talking to Source within yourself. That's your prayer. It's like, Source, I can't figure out what it is. Who is it? What is it? Like, I can't figure this thing out. Like, what's wrong? I feel like if I do this is not working. If I do that, that's not working. What is it? Right? Okay, Source, come on. I need you. Come on, Source. Show me what it is. And Source is like, okay. And so a lot of it is when you kind of sort of break down the houses and just like what's your zodiac sign, the house that your zodiac sign rules, it goes both ways, right? It goes both ways. First impression. A lot of times you don't even realize you could have just said, hey, so-and-so, and I'm talking to men and women Aries, let's go hang out this weekend. And your person could be right there in your face, but it's because of who you're hanging out with. They like, oh, that's the crowd they running with. Oh no, I'm good. I'm good, right? And so that's the third house, right? And then Venus also, and then Mercury, also rules sixth house. That's Virgo. And so we had a full moon in Virgo. And sixth house is all about health, work habits, daily routines, fitness, pets, service to others, diet, spiritual practices, right? So all of those things come into play. Remember, Mercury is all about sending out a message, sending out messages. So let's say, for instance, work habits or diet, right? Maybe you just switched your diet. Maybe you just went, all whole foods or whatever it is, or your service to others. Maybe you just started volunteering, maybe you just switched up on some things, and maybe some spiritual practices and changes and those kind of things. Maybe you're new to an area, whatever some changes maybe. And then also seventh house, which is all connects us with Venus. That connects us with marriage, relationships. That's Libra, by the way. Libra rules seventh house, and that's relationships, partnerships, business contracts, inner desires, enemies. It'll also expose hidden enemies. And so Libra is your polarity sign, right? So Source is saying, if you're used to hanging out with certain energies, remember Libra is the scales of justice, like balance. If you've been hanging out with people feeling like they balance you out, let's say for instance you have a sibling you hung out with when you were little, and it just seemed like y'all balanced each other out, and how y'all communicate now, when y'all were kids, very different than how you all communicate now. Maybe there is an imbalance. Maybe you all don't have the same spiritual practices, or have the same work ethics, or same health or dietary, or whatever it is, and there's an imbalance. Maybe they're all about the almighty whatever currency is, and maybe you're not like that, and so people are like, oh no, I don't want to hang out with them. The Aries, y'all get the whole point what I'm saying. So something new is trying to come in, and it's trying to come in fast because you said out of your mouth that you may be a little impatient, right? So a lot of your wishes are being fulfilled. Again, I'm talking to you whoever Aries is in your birth chart. So I have to really slow down and break it down and help somebody understand you have multiple streams of income, but it first comes in as energy. So it's a lot of downloads coming in, and that's why I'm re-emphasizing Aries and really slowing down and just saying you want to get in a position of rest. Get real discipline. I'm telling y'all, Source wants you all to live a softer life. So it doesn't just come in. When I say multiple streams of income, it comes in as a lot of information first. So while you're sitting down at home and you're getting all of these ideas, pull out your notepad, pull out the notes section of your cell phone. You're getting all of these ideas. Write them down. Put them in the notes section of your cell phone. You're getting ideas, creative ideas about how to make money. You're getting reminders about stuff that you don't want to remember. You can toss all of that stuff into a burning bowl. You're a fire sign. That's how you're going to cleanse by fire. Toss the negative ideas into a burning bowl. Get rid of that because you're making room for positive ideas, right? You're getting memories about who not to hang out with anymore. You're getting all the stuff that you don't want. Burning bowl. Because Source is surely going to tell you what you don't want. But you also going to get some good ideas about what you do want. Right? Because a lot of your wishes are being fulfilled. Somebody's emotionally going to feel like they jumped out of a treasure chest. For real. And Source is speeding up your ideas. Because Source is saying, this is the whole point of you staying focused. Source is getting you out of a karmic cycle. Getting you out of a karmic cycle. And this is the whole point, prayer and meditation. Source is trying to get you, this is hand in hand, prayer and meditation. Source is trying to put you with energies that's going to help you to increase your net worth. Not just your bank net worth, but you got multiple streams of income. But like trying to get you to have like this, less thinking about the gossipy stuff and thinking more, your mind is more on like business ventures, like changing, like completely switching up on the stuff that you really want to focus on. Okay, I got, multi-unit building over here. I got this investment going on over here, this investment going on over here. I'm working on this and that, and less on, whatever other stuff. I can't even think of some stuff. Just low vibrational stuff. Whatever. A lot of your wishes being fulfilled. That's all I'm saying. Looking at your cards here. So like I said, you got new business and new job, new love partnerships coming. So yeah. There it is, a Tower. So Source is like, look, in a very vulnerable state, you're in a space where Source is saying to you, there's going to be people that's going to be making first impressions about who you're hanging out with. So like I said, Queen of Pentacles, this is going to deal with your 6th house right here. This right here, this Queen of Pentacles is going to deal with your 6th house. So anything around health, work habits, daily routines, fitness, pets, service to others, your diet, and spiritual practices is where people are jumping to conclusions about you. And a lot of incoming information is like who you're hanging out with. Who your family, where you came from, people talking, people jumping to conclusions, your last name, who you connected with, all of this other stuff. People asking questions, right? Who is being used as a pawn? Who you been talking to? Who said what and what can be used against you later? I'm trying to tell you. Because people have been talking. This is the 5 of Swords here. People have been talking. Here's the King of Cups, Four of Cups here. And this is what I'm talking about, is like people jumping to conclusions about stuff. This is what you have in common with somebody, because a new partnership in a job in love, and people now, things are starting to come back around. So a lot of your wishes are coming true. But there was a, here we have, now that you're moving on from some stuff that may have been said about you behind your back. And this is what you have in common with someone, right? So 1, 5, and 6 is 11. 11 is a master number, just like 29. So we have a new moon on the 29th, right? And this is where a lot of people don't ever think about this when they move on from things, right? Jumping to conclusions about stuff. This is where a lot of people miss it. That's why I always say keep it high vibrational. If you don't have anything kind to say about people, keep it to yourself. I tell people, I'm telling y'all, if you don't have anything nice to say about people, keep it to yourself. Like, just be quiet. Don't say anything, because people never see this coming back. Because here's the tower right here. Somebody was hanging out with somebody. Somebody was hanging out with somebody, a karmic, who was all about money. That's all they cared about was money, 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 money. That's all they cared about was just money. It was all about the money. Something may be over with them now. Who knows who it is? That's all they could care about was just money, 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 money. Using people as a pawn in their little game, the whole 9 yards. And I feel like you may have moved on from them by now. You may have moved on because they may be a little shady. Either they moved on or you moved on. There's two sides of the sword. Like, in other words, two sides of the story. You may have moved on. Maybe you felt like they were shady or whatever. They feel like you were shady, whatever the situation is. A lot of your wishes are being fulfilled, right? And so it's a very vulnerable space that's happening right now. And sources saying new partnerships are forming, love is near, all of these things, right? And but you're in a very vulnerable position. This is where you really want to get into prayer mode. You really, really want to get into prayer mode. Because now you're being baited into something. The devil. The devil. When I say the devil, I'm talking about the flesh, the carnal mind. Now you're being baited into something that was said. So that's the test. Just so you know. Something was said. Somebody is trying to pull you back into something. Somebody is going to ask you some questions about something that was said. Something having to do with your family. Right? Something about why your family was split up. Where's the divide as far as your family is concerned? What's the divide with your family? Because this is where, because now somebody's going to ask a question. Your family was baited into something. Two people were used as a pawn. And what was the divide about? This is where the question is. Just so you know. And why does somebody leave behind a lot of distractions, right? Why does somebody leave behind a lot of distractions? Why was something so? Why do people say somebody was such a nightmare? That's where the test is going to be. So something is going to require you to go back through a memory. And shine a light on something. Something is going to require you to shine a light on something. From a past belief that you said you had something. You said you had a belief about something. Yeah. So this is where remember I said what's hidden in the Tower card is a judgment, right? So this is generational. So the judgment card is Pluto, and so Pluto is the outermost card, outermost planet, right? And so something is generational, right? So however many generations something goes back, who knows? But something where there's some kind of a split that happened in the family where somebody was cut off, and somebody is going to ask about your family where somebody was cut out of the family and there was a belief about something, but something is generational. Something is generational. So like I said, a new partnership is coming your way, and that's where things get real tricky. That's where things get real tricky. That's why I always say, like, because what's being said here, the reason why the Queen of Pentacles came out is because now what's under question here is, and this is serious. This is pretty serious, because people are looking at things like, okay, a family is being bought for money. Something was done for money. Somebody went to great lengths to cut to separate some people for money. They were able to use use a master manipulator to cut one person out of a family for money and create all these nightmares for somebody for money. Here we had a Two of Swords here. So people were to get into somebody's ear. So some kind of stalemate is happening here. Some kind of stalemate is happening here. Yeah. So something about a Leo. Something about a Leo making something all about them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. That and Leo rules 5th house, or something about somebody's 5th house. Maybe you have Leo in your fifth. Maybe you have Leo in your birth chart, but something about somebody's 5th house. Maybe it's not a Leo. Maybe you have Leo in your 5th house, but the 5th house speaks to romance, creativity, children, projects, fun, self-expression, hobbies, what makes you feel good. And so it's coming back, something comes back around to a karmic cycle about two people, and like what makes people feel good is like something makes two people feel good, and it comes back to money. Everything just comes back to money. Something just comes back to two people being all about money. Whoever the two people are, just being about money. Whoever the two people are, something just being about money. Splitting two people up. Just to make their wishes come true. So this is what's happening. Something is pretty serious here in this right here. Something is pretty serious in this reading here. 5 of Swords. Somebody was bullied. Two people were bullied. Yep, two people were bullied. Wow. Oh my God. This is crazy. I didn't know this reading was going to go in this direction. So, This sounds like a soap opera. So, however, I mean, you put it wherever it goes. Put it wherever it goes for you. But yeah. Yeah, something was done all for money. Something was done all for money. Something was done all for money, and yeah, that's what this is. So I'm talking to even my cross watchers here, talking to my cross watchers, looking at the cards here. But it calls, like I said before, it calls a lot of nightmares. It calls a lot of sadness. But what's kind of I can't even say what's kind of, what's behind it is, I mean, when it comes back around, there were two energies. To start with. A lot of people just didn't ask a lot of questions. That's what this really boils down to. A lot of people didn't ask a lot of questions. It really, really boils down to first impression and appearance. Like somebody really didn't think somebody was smart. That's what it really boils down to. And somebody really thought somebody was a fool. Right? Somebody really thought that somebody was a fool. Now, who somebody thought was a fool, I don't know. But for you, looking at the cards here, I'm seeing, like I said, a new partnership, new job, new love is near. And Source is saying, first impressions can be deceiving. What Source is trying to get you to do is really slow down, because when you're entering into a new job, a new space, a new love, follow these moon phases, slow your roll, slow down. Don't be so quick to jump into something. Take your time, talk to people, find out what your love language is. Don't overthink something. Talk to people, find out what their love language is. Find out what their love language is. But anyway, at your request, you wanted another reading. So here we go. Take on what resonates with you. Clean your space. Like I said, new beginnings for you. If this doesn't apply to you, it could apply to a family member for you. It could apply to a friend, as far as you're concerned. It could apply to a friend. It could apply to a love interest, but a new start is coming. A new start is coming. So yeah, clean your space. Yeah, divine abundance. You were born to align with love's will and serve something beyond the ego. Learn to be abundance, not chase it. Because we all, like, in terms of currency, we are money. Like knowing your worth, knowing your value. And Source is saying to you, like, knowing your worth and knowing your value, you'll know who to hang out with. Like, you'll know. It's not just like hanging out with people who have money. Like, y'all know what I'm saying, Aries. Y'all know what I'm saying. So that's what Source is trying to tell you. Is like, there going to be some people, I'm telling y'all, there going to be some people that y'all going to cut off. If y'all haven't already cut off, there's a lot of people who will look at you all, and I've complimented you all. When I first started putting my videos up, I used to share, a lot of you all used to give me permission to share some of your testimonies that would encourage other Aries until, we had some Aries haters. I know they were cross watchers. We don't want to hear all of that. I'm like, gosh, I mean, don't attack the messenger. But it's all love. It's all love on this channel for every zodiac sign. But y'all know how some cross watchers be doing. They be thinking somebody, they just a mere mention, but I get it. Some people have been so traumatized by some zodiac signs, just a mere mention of some zodiac signs for them. They may be still caught up in a karmic cycle within themselves that they haven't really closed out cycles, so I get it. But yeah, you can't attack readers, you know. We're just reading cards, you know. We're not, you know. So anyway, rich gain is here when you know your worth and you know your value. So sources like, yeah, be careful about the company that you keep. People who, you know, they're all about the almighty whatever the currency is in your country. So that is what I have for you. I will see you all in the next video. Hopefully this has been helpful. But like I said, you got new things coming across your path. Please slow down. Take these moon phases very seriously. Take these moon phases very, very seriously. Because they can, like I said, source has been trying to get you all. These first two rows right here really are about you all living a softer life. Really get in touch, and I'm talking to men and women. Get in touch with your divine feminine self. You'll be so glad that you did. I'm telling you, so it's trying to help you all live a softer life. You won't even overthink it. You'll be like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that I've learned how to speak, pray about it, sit down and meditate, envision it, and just call it to me, like call it to myself, right? So anyway, that's what I have for you all. So you can learn how to rise above the judgment and break generational cycles, chains, and curses. So that's what I have for you. Bye.